Hey there. So today was very interesting. Um, I got 8 stitches today, and that was very exciting. So I figured that for anybody who's interested and for my own purposes, I would record the story and allow anybody who wants to check it out. So here's what happened. I was running an errand for Sherry in the office, and I ran into Alice Berry, and she said, "Hey, I was going to get you to run an errand for me, but since you're already running one, just go about your business." And I insisted upon helping her, and she had this box of paper in her car, which was I was in the theater building at the time, and the car was across the crosswalk and in the middle of the central lot. And so I walk out there with her, and she says, "Oh, well, I don't want you to walk all the way back and carry this box because it's pretty heavy. So why don't I just drive down to the street and let you out at the crosswalk?" And so we go down there, and the light at the crosswalk was red. She pulls up behind this car at the red light, and I go, "Do you want me to get out here?" And she says, "Yes." So I get out of her van, and I was in the back passenger side, and she had the box in the front passenger side. So I get out, and as soon as my foot hits the ground, I look at the light, and the light changes from red to green. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have to go quickly," because I don't want her to be sitting here blocking traffic. And so I reach and grab her passenger side door and swing it open and knock myself right in the face. And it didn't hurt. I mean, it didn't feel like I got cut or anything. It sort of just felt like pressure for a second. And I was like, that was ridiculous. And I sort of lean in to get the box, and I made a comment to her. I was like, "Oh, I hit my head. That's crazy," or "I can't believe I did that," or something. She goes, "Are you all right?" And she was looking at the road, and I go, "Yeah, I'm all right." And at that time, this drop of blood falls in front of me, and I'm like, "What?" And I put my hand up here and bring it back, and it is covered in blood. And I start to realize that I'm gushing blood from some sort of wound in my head where I hit myself. And I go, "No, I'm not okay." And she turns and looks, and she's like, "Get back in the car." So I run around, get in the car, and there's this frantic minute where we finally get pulled in off the road and right beside the theater building. And we get out at the shop, and we walk all the way down to the front office. And by this time, she's found a napkin, and I'm holding this napkin over my head, which is turning more and more red because I'm really gushing blood here. And we get to the office, and we walk in, and there's Kristen, and there's Sherry, and Janice Lasik was in there, and Jason Gerhardt, and maybe one other person, I can't remember. And they're all in there, and Alice and I walk in, and Alice is like, "Blake hit his head. We're going to go to the on-campus clinic. Do you think this needs stitches?" And everybody turns and looks at me, and I take the paper towel away from my head, and everybody goes, "Yes, he needs stitches." And so Alice takes me along with her, and we walk to the library, and she was concerned that I was going to pass out, and I was feeling sort of faint by the time we got to the health clinic, but I made it, and I went back, and they had me lie down, and I got some glasses of water, and eventually got a Pepsi. The doctor wasn't in, so they said that I had to go to the emergency room. So, long story short, Davis came and was kind of my hero for a little while, and she came from the theater building and volunteered to go and drive me to the emergency room, and she was actually volunteering to drive me there and stay there and drive me home, and I didn't realize that, and I thought that Alice was going to drive me there, and then I needed to find a ride home. And so I called my big brother Simon, and he mobilized James Calicott as well, and the two of them got in the car and went to meet us at the hospital, and they actually beat us there because it was rush hour. And they got there, we got there, got checked in, and spent the next 4 hours sitting and waiting before I finally got stitched up. And I got 8 stitches, and I had quite an ordeal, and I was freaking out because I was trying to learn my lines the whole time for rehearsal tonight. And I got there, and I realized that I had made uh, I had made a mistake when I told Simon about it. I when I hit myself with the door, I go, oh, I hit myself in the eye, because I feel like maybe a lot of people say that when they hit themselves like in the eye area, because you don't really think somebody's going to hit themselves in the eye. But in the context of going to the emergency room, when somebody says, I hit myself in the eye, that means they're probably been blinded. And unthinkingly, I told this to Simon. So now he and James and everybody in my fraternity think that I have like gashed my eye, and probably think that I'm blind now on one side. And and so they had quite a relief when they found out that it was just my eyebrow. And the whole thing was a little crazy, but the actual injury wasn't that bad. I mean, I was really gushing blood, but it didn't hurt. It felt sore every once in a while, or maybe I felt a little kind of distantly sharp pain, but it really never hurt until the guy was actually shooting the needles into me to numb me before he put in the stitches. And so it was kind of surreal a little bit, and so I was just very calm, and I decided that it would be fun to comment on how sort of weird and humorous the situation was. And so it was a really interesting day, and and my two biggest fears when it happened was, one, I didn't want a scar on my face, and so I was like planning, I was like, maybe I won't get stitches. If I don't need stitches, I definitely won't have a scar. And then I was like, well, I have to get stitches, so maybe I won't scar up, or maybe I can use Neosporin and prevent it from scarring. And the doctor has reassured me, that the doctor at the emergency room was like, yeah, no, you'll be totally fine. The cut is really clean and straight, so it should heal up just fine. And I asked him about it later. I was like, should I use Neosporin? He said, no, just let it heal naturally, and it will heal up, and you won't even need to use Neosporin. You won't get a scar. My other biggest concern was that I just bought this shirt this weekend, and I was wearing it for the first time today, and I'm gushing blood everywhere, and so I'm leaning over so that if it drips, it falls like on my shirt or on the floorboard or something, or on my shorts or on the floorboard, and not on my shirt. And a tiny little drop got on my shirt, and I was really concerned that it was going to stain it. So maybe I'm a little crazy, but at least that denotes that it was not a more serious injury, I guess. So quite a day, and I wanted to thank everybody that helped me out. I know my parents were really concerned, and so of course I'm ever thankful for them. And Davis taking time out of her day to be the Good Samaritan was really great. And then Big Brother Simon and James Calicott, who I hate forever and ever, came and sat with me, and Simon helped me run lines, and he bought me dinner, and that was wonderful. And then Bobby Haybear got me a complimentary Taco Bell as well after I returned to the Fiji house. And so weirdly enough, it was a great day. And so that's the story.